Hey guys, it's Tuesday night. It's a quiet one, so it might be a short one, but we'll see how it goes, we'll see how we feel. But we made a mistake earlier, and basically what happened was something had happened to the splines, and they weren't actually drawn. So we actually got a backup in, and then we had to spend a lot of time redoing all the references and stuff. And eventually we got that done, but we haven't tested it yet. So we've got still problems apparently. Now I'm not too worried about this per se. The current spliner on this can go away. Okay. We can paste that back in if it's necessary. And now we have the comp output giving us issues as well. So let's take a look at that and see where the errors are. And output object, we have output spliner. We're probably going to have to refresh nodes on that and then plug that. Now this means that our BP output object has to get fixed up as well. My spline has to become spliner. Now I'm not too sure what this is going to muck up, but I'm pretty sure it's going to muck up something. Okay. And there we go. But luckily we're going to have to refresh this. And my spline is going to go in there. And we're not too sure about this. This is going to be end actor. And I'm guessing that that is going in there. Okay. And again, we're going to have to refresh the nodes. So that's going to be spline. And that's going to go in there. And that's going to get removed. So we're up and going. I think comp output is still a problem for some unknown reason. We've got a warning. We've still got one issue. Owner building. So we're going to have to say spline complete. That goes in there. And we're just about done. That was a bit of a disaster. Now I'm guessing that this was in here. No, it couldn't have been. It must be the output spliner that was in here. So that should be that. Now, if there's any remaining huge issues, we're going to have a problem. We're going to indeed have a problem. We're going to start, and we'll call it fix. And I do hope it's fixed, because I really don't want to do that whole thing again, because it's taken me about an hour to get back to where we were. Okay. We can turn that round. Right. So, fingers crossed here, guys. Fingers crossed. And we have it back. But we have a problem. We're gonna have to stop that. And yep. Current Spliner. Add to spline. So that is BP Spliner. And if we add to spline, what? Yeah, that's okay. That's okay, but if this is nothing, then we have a problem. Okay? So what we want to do here is add breakpoint. Now this would this would explain the issue here. Okay, so that's not an error. So we can spin that around, not that it really matters at this point. Right, but we'll take it from the miner. Okay. Current Spliner is none. So what we need to do here is we need to go into the miner. So we're setting a direction and we're setting the conveyor out. So what we want to do is add breakpoint. And this would suggest it's in the base building. Right? So we need to check the base building and check the output spliner is a BP spliner, which is fine. Okay. So no, we actually want that. Add breakpoint. Okay, and we want to check if that is getting set as well. So we shall take it from this point first. Doesn't matter about the other one, to be honest. Well, in fact, we could do it this way first. Right. But it's probably just as easy to do it with the miner. So let's get our miner back on track here. So we are setting that. We are setting that. And we are setting that. Okay. So in our base building, we should have our output spliner. We don't have an error yet. So if we press play there, we're going to get our first part of the spline. Okay. Now if we click, right, we're left clicking and our current spliner is nothing. And this is in the controller. And that is there. Right, so let's keep an eye on this. Are we actually... So in the base building, do we have a output spliner? Yes. Now, when we do this, we've got the output spliner, but where do we set the current spliner? That is my question. So we're going to find references. So it's not in here at all. I've got a get, and here's the sets. It's in the warehouse in the smelter. Except those are gets. So it's in here. Okay, and there's nothing there. So if we take a look at old, we had the exact same thing. And this is on the event begin play. So this isn't really the one we want to deal with. We want to deal and that's not it either. Right? We have it in the combiner and we have it in the splitter. Ah, this is self. Right, okay, so we go to self and do current spliner. Okay, but this kind of doesn't make any sense at this point to me, even though I wrote the darn thing. Because we don't seem to be doing the spliner. What we seem to be doing is not a lot. It would also appear to me that we need to set the current spliner at this point. But I don't want to do anything foolhardy because that would be a silly thing to do. Right? So we can resume that. Resume. Now we definitely have the spliner. Okay. So that's okay. Resume. Right, so we're okay with that. Okay, well, that wasn't quite so bad, was it? Not quite so bad as I thought it was going to be anyway. And we basically have things up and running again. Now, why it wasn't working before, I don't know. That's a weird one. Very weird indeed. Anyway. So, one of the other things we're looking at is we were looking at a widget. Okay. So, we can have a look at our widget. And we'll have a look at a couple of versions of it. And see where that takes us. In fact, we don't even need to wait on these. Be a good idea just to do that. And if we click on that, we've got our cycle speed 1 second, products per cycle 1. We haven't got our workers for some reason, and overall efficiency. So we just need to calculate these. Okay. So let's do that. We shall go down to our UI, have a look in there, expand that out. It's very, very quiet tonight, it's got to be said. So we are looking at game, then building details. Then this is going to give us factory details. So we can look in here at the factory details. And here are our 4 things. We can go to our graph. Okay. And we can go to our refiner and we can add a breakpoint here. Okay. So we'll press play again, continue. We shall just build a refiner anywhere, because we just want to click on it. So let's get this done. We can click on that, that's fine. Step over, we've got a current recipe, we've got a comp building worker. We can add a breakpoint here. This isn't quite right. That's times 0, so that's not going to work. Right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do text workers. we're going to get text workers, right? Then we're going to set text to set up our text on our widget on that particular text box. We're going to grab that, put that in there, and it's actually going to be the current workers, right? So we can basically do that. That's going to give us exactly what we want. Now the interesting thing here is this is like the level. So in this case we're just going to put 1 times that times 100. And that's going to give us our percentage, basically. Due to the workers. So we can put our refinery down again. And we can test this out. We can resume there and resume there, and we have current workers 1, 8.33%. Okay, so if we close that and stop that, we'll remove this breakpoint. We shall, well, that one's already removed, and that's an integer. That's weird. That is a weird one. No, it's this one. One idiot. Right, so this number here, we just do 2 integer. Int. Well, this should just be to int. Right, hang on a second. Right, so if we were to do this, that converts an integer to a float. Right, but we don't want to do that. Yeah, we can just do that. Right, delete that. So we're just rounding down. We'll try that and see how that goes. Right. And we still have that one there, so remove that. And there we go. Now, if we close it and we hit L a few times, we have 6 and 50%. So I'm guessing the refiner is a maximum of 12. Okay. And there we have it. Now it does look to me like this is stuck in this horizontal thing here, right? So if that's the case, we want to go into the designer here, right? And we've got, for this one, UGP current recipe, right? So what goes in UGP current recipe? Well, it's recipe details, right? So we need to take a look in here. And that's V mining info. So we're adding it to mining info. Well, I'm not quite sure what that's supposed to mean. I'm not going to worry about it for the moment. It's working. As you can see. So we shall not worry too much about it. So let's try that. What we'll do is we'll build a fabricator here. So these two should be slightly different because I added some workers on one, then added more, so you've got 9 and it's at 75%. Then again we have workers 5, 25%. Okay, so this one is at 75%, so there's 2.5 of these closed off. This one is 25%, so there's 2.5 of these. Okay, so what we're going to do is in our mining details, we're going to look at it. We're going to come in here, and this one is not going to be that color. We're going to set it to be the same as everything else, or as near as darn it. and then that'll make everything lovely again. So we'll have one more little look in here. We'll check this out and we'll see how this goes. It's a very quiet night on the stream. If yours and my one viewer has just left, so nobody can hear me now. It's like that movie Alien. Right, so there we go. We're getting our workers. And that's pretty cool. So we do indeed like this. Right. So that's pretty good. We could have actually added a vertical box to that and not put it in where it is. We'll maybe think about that later. But let's, yep. Our building disappears straight away, so we have everything back up running, which is good, obviously, especially from earlier because we knackered everything up. But as it is, we're looking good. And that's looking good. Save that. Everything's good. And what will we do next? So we've basically added our different things to our warehouse, etc. Well, warehouse is slightly different. Now, it's whether or not we do a research one. I'm not 100% sure on that, but we probably would. It's probably one of the easier ones to do because everything for the research one, the information for the research one is going to be basically in the player controller. So that's actually going to be pretty easy to set up. So yeah, I think that's what we'll do. So what we'll do is we'll go into the warehouse. We shall duplicate that, except we shall call it research station. Then we'll pop it into research because that would be the logical place to put it. Right, then we'll open it up, and this isn't going to be warehouse. It's going to be research. Now we're going to put the whole thing in first, and then we're going to check on it. Okay. And for this one, we can actually bring down the size, then offset it a bit. We need to offset it down the way a bit. And probably we need it a bit more, to be fair. So our font is going to be 24. Will we get away with 28? Yeah, we'd probably get away with 28. And we shall bring that down a bit. We'll zoom in a bit so we can see better. That's fine. Right, but what we want is about there. Yep, that's good. Save that. And this graph is going to be a bit different. But I think we're going to do this offline. It is absolutely dead tonight. And I'm going to finish early, take the dog for a walk, and do all that stuff. So just at that moment, somebody pops in. Now, what we're going to do is we need to get the controller, okay? This is exactly what we want. We're not going to build the inventory. Okay. We'll change this out a bit, right? And we shall basically say get research. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to copy that and we're going to paste that in there, right? And this we're going to bump it up to 5 because basically we don't want it to be firing too often, right? Because it's not going to update that often, especially later in the game when you need a lot of stuff to actually do it. So probably even I could pop that up to even more than that. But we'll leave it that for now. So this is going to say get research. Okay. We'll plug this in here. And you'll notice here that we're creating an inventory item. So in this case we're not going to create an inventory item. What we're going to do is we're going to create a, actually we're just going to make it. Right, this is our widget here, right? Our space that we have to work with. And I think what we can do is, so we've got that there, and then this is it here, right? So we're going to put something in here, and luckily this is a horizontal box, which is exactly what we want, right? So we'll delete that. Okay. And there's not going to be much information here to put in, right? So what I was intending on doing was like having a little bit of information here and then having a picture of what we're researching here. Yeah. Now, whether we can get a picture of what we're researching or not, I don't know. At the moment, I don't know. Right? We should be able to. Right? So, in the meantime, what I'll do is I'm going to grab this and this is a horizontal box, so we'll do a vertical box in here. Right, so this is vertical box. You'll notice that it's there. Then we shall duplicate it. Right? And that's going to fill. And that's going to fill. Okay? So we've got our two vertical boxes. Okay? Now, let's say the one on the right we're going to have another vertical box. Okay? And then in that vertical box we're going to have an image. And then we're going to have text. Okay, now I'm trying to think of things we can actually put in here. I have got a bit of an idea of what we can put in here. We could put in, sorry, this is going to be the image for the, whatchamacallit, of what we're doing from the research tree, and this is going to be the name of it. Then on the left hand side we're going to have probably again, we're going to have the name of it, then the number of research things working on it, then the percentage complete, and maybe what we need to actually make it. Yeah. So anyway, let's carry on with this. We're going to have some errors here because we basically add child to grid, which we don't need to do. We don't need to do any of this, to be honest. So we shall take that out. We don't need these. In fact, we don't need any of this at all. Right? And yeah, that's just basically close. So that's okay. So now we get the controller. And we basically say current research, get struct current research. Okay. Then we break it to see what we've got. We've got a process time, and then we've got, well, we know we can go to the controller and return a percentage complete anyway, right? So what we might have to do here is get data table row names, and this is going to be research. This is going to be research items. Then we're going to get, actually we might just need get data table row name, which is basically always at the bottom. We get a data table row, right, and this is from research items. So we've got this here, right? So what we can do is we can get this name, right, and we replace any spaces with nothing, and then that goes into there, right? So we don't need to do this, and the out row is going to give us item row name and the image, the category, status. So that's all cool, even though we should really know where the status is, but that's all well and good. And on that, guys, we're going to finish up for the night. There's hardly anybody about, so we're going to have an early night. And if you're watching and enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button. All the rest of it, check out the description, and we shall catch you later. Bye for now.